Hello everyone, this is my video on 55-gallon barrel planters. So what you're seeing here is a 55-gallon barrel. It's not the blue barrel, it's one of the white barrels. And I cut off the top with a reciprocating saw, as you can see here. And all along the sides of the barrel are these pockets or these indentations. I like to refer to them as dimples, so I would like to call this a dimple barrel. And what these are is that these are for plants. There are about 54 of them in all. The outside of the barrel is painted with a Chinese lacquer. I'll have to give it a second coat. If you have the blue barrel, you're not really obligated to paint it, but the white barrel, for UV protection, give it a couple coats of paint. So this will be filled with soil. There's some drainage holes on the bottom there. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but I'll have to put some more. These pockets here are where I'll put some of my plants. And this could be anything of my choice. Now before I cut the top off, I actually dimpled the barrel, and that was really a foolish mistake on my part. And what happened here is that when I was using the reciprocating, so I actually cut and damaged a couple of dimples. Now luckily it's not so bad that I can't use the barrel or use this position to put a plant in, but don't make my mistake. Cut off the top of the barrel first, but leave enough of a lip here to maintain the rigidity of the barrel. And then you could drill your holes, cut with your jigsaw, and then begin the process of creating the dimples with your heat gun and your glass bottles. So this is just another view of it from the top going down, of how these dimples look. And this will all be filled with dirt all the way through the barrel. And I'll put some small vegetable crops, seasoning, lettuce, pak choy, or whatever it is I could come up with. So I just laid the barrel on the side here, and I'm giving you a side view of the barrel to showing you the different levels of the dimples that I put in the barrel. This is the base here, and this is approximately 8 inches from the base that I began the first row of these dimples. We can grow a large amount of crops in a very small area. Now by no means am I bashing anyone who does hydroponics or aquaponics, but I don't believe that it's wise to put all the eggs in one basket. You never know if the importation of these fertilizers, pumps, or any of these other accessories may become problematic for you in the future. And I think that it's a good thing for you to diversify your setup and use this as a means of zero waste agriculture. So you could always use the waste solutions to fertilize this or other planter systems that you have in your backyard setup. Now this is another shot of the barrel here, right before we're going to put it in its location and set it up with the soil and what are the accessories that we have to. This is just another shot of it with the second coat of Chinese lacquer. We decided to give it a silver color. So this is a piece of landscape fabric. It's used to block weeds, it's used to block other undesirables from your garden, but in this case I'm using a circle of it to cover the holes at the bottom of the barrel, and on top of this I'm going to put a layer of sand. Right, as you could see there, it has some really tiny perforations in it to allow the water to pass through. Now this is another shot of the piece of landscape fabric that we have in its position at the bottom of the barrel, and we're now going to add the sand to on top of the landscape fabric. So I'm using a little improvised scoop there, and I'm gently lowering the sand onto the landscape fabric. carefully trying to distribute it evenly, and to also not disturb the edges and to allow the sand to go underneath the fabric, which will eventually allow it to fall through the holes at the bottom of the barrel. Now this is a shot of me completing the addition of the sand. So I just carefully and evenly placed all that sand, and it's roughly 1 to 2 inches deep. Now if you look at the bottom right of your screen, you'll see some newspapers there. I put a layer of newspapers about roughly 1 layer thick, and then I started to put these discarded coconut husks on the top of it to act like a kind of absorbent spongy layer. And now I've started to add my soil. Now if you look at it, it's 1 part sand, 1 part soil, and 1 part organic matter. And I carefully add it to the barrel so that it doesn't fall through the dimples on the side of the barrel. This is a shot of the barrel in its final location. It's in a part of the yard in which it can get sun on all sides of the barrel. And as you could see here, I've put sieve in the side pockets as I'm filling the soil. Now you don't have to do this, but I'm doing it to save some time. So I would normally start mixing my soil in another part of the yard, and I'll bring it in bucket by bucket and carefully add it to the barrel, as you could see here. Now I'm using a hand fork and I'm carefully spreading out the soil so that it doesn't fall out the dimples as I'm adding it to the barrel. Now with each bucket or couple buckets that I'm adding to the barrel, I'm generously wetting the soil. This is so that I could compact the soil in the bucket to a small extent before I'm adding each set of soil or each bucket of soil to the barrel. And I'm increasing the moisture content of the soil so that when I plant the plants in the dimples, they will be able to catch themselves quickly. Here's a shot of my improvised watering system, and it's basically 2 2-liter soft drink bottles that have 10 small holes that are pricked with a safety pin about 1 inch off from the bottom of the bottles. And all I do is I fill this up with normal water, I cap it tightly, and the water slowly oozes into the soil as the day progresses. And there you have it. Here's a shot of the barrel where I've planted the majority of the dimples out, and you could see I have some pak choy, kale, mint, chive, celery, cilantro, a whole set of other different kitchen herbs that I commonly use when we are cooking. And I add kitchen scraps and discarded eggshells to the barrel as a means of fertilizing the entire system organically. So I've got some worms here from my backyard, and I'm going to add them to this barrel. Now why am I doing this? I want you to realize that this barrel is just not a glorified flower pot, but it's an actual living ecosystem. And these worms are what are processing the kitchen scraps and all of the other organic matter in the barrel and slowly releasing it into your soil. By them tunneling through the soil, as they go through the organic matter to break it down, they're also aerating the soil, thereby making the conditions of the soil more conducive to plant growth. So I've capped the covers of the watering system, the bottles that I use to water the system with 1 inch PVC end caps, and that's just to protect them from the UV radiation. The question I want to address now is, who is this for? So the poor in our society have grown accustomed to us providing them with handouts. But if you teach them to grow their own food, this is a means of empowerment for them. These planters work well for the elderly, as they may not be able to bend to work the soil at the ground level. So you want to reduce the amount of money that you're spending in the grocery and the market each day? Why not have a barrel planter or a couple of these in your yard? Now let's just say you don't have enough money to go into hydroponics and aquaponics by buying all of these expensive pumps and putting up all of this exotic infrastructure to maintain these things. This is a very simple way to get into agriculture at a commercial level. So if you have a multitude of these, you could grow a lot of these crops vertically. Now I could ramble on and on about this, but I believe you're starting to get the picture. And as I bring this video to a close, I want to let you know that this is something that's doable. This is something that you could definitely do to help out your family or to help out those in need. And I really hope that you're inspired to do something along these lines to make a difference in the world around you. As always, thanks for watching.